less than a year left in office, President Barack Obama is still making history with an upcoming flight to the Caribbean.
Plus, America lost a major activist and former First Lady this past week. Find out more about the legacy she's leaving behind.
And uproar in the Chapman community. Find out why Panthers are up in arms over new ordinance in Orange. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Chapman News. I'm Chris Williams.
And I'm Gabriella Pinnell. Our first story this morning comes to us from right here in Santa Ana. It's been about a month since 3 inmates broke out at the Central Men's Jail in Santa Ana, and many are still wondering why these inmates were able to escape so easily. Reporter Max Exela has the full story.
It was around this time a month ago that the Sheriff's Department of Orange County was frantically on the hunt for 3 escaped inmates. Now that they've been brought back into custody, many question exactly how they were able to escape. Assistant Sheriff Steve Key of the Sheriff's Department of Orange County spoke on the incidents leading up to the breakout, including a fight during the evening count.
Yeah, during the second count, the evening count that I mentioned, a fight did break out in the jail. It was a large-scale fight. There was initially some belief that that fight may have been deliberate in an attempt to delay the count and further the escape. As we look closer at that, it doesn't appear likely. We have over 1,000 volunteers who work in our jails. They're not employees. You may have heard about one that was arrested, eventually released due to insufficient evidence. She's an employee of the college district, and they provide educational services. We do believe that there's a link there, and so we're investigating that and may possibly prosecute in the future.
The assistant sheriff did leave out one piece of information, though, involving the department's decision to reorganize staffing levels within the jail without conferring with the deputies union. I was able to speak with the president of the Association of Orange County Deputy Sheriffs, Tom Dominguez, who believes that the issue lies within those staffing changes.
What we are pointing out is there were significant staffing changes made to particular shifts. There were changes in the hours of some of these start times, and when you reduce staffing levels, the consequence is it's to the detriment of the safety of the staff, the inmates, and quite possibly to the public, especially if later on it's determined that there was a connection between staffing levels and an escape.
Although no action has been taken yet, the Sheriff's Department of Orange County has every intention to reevaluate their security system so that something like this never happens again. Reporting from the Central Men's Jail in Santa Ana, I'm MaxEixela, Chapman News.
President Tom Dominguez was not able to speak on the current status of the investigation regarding staffing level changes, but he's hopeful that the proper action will be taken.
The 2016 primaries are in full swing, and it was another critical week at the state level. Reporter Maya Rodrigo has more on the story.
Last Tuesday, the 2016 Republican candidates competed for 150 delegates in the Idaho, Michigan, and Mississippi primaries. Meanwhile, the Democratic candidates sought 166 delegates in Michigan and Mississippi in what was called Super Tuesday 2.
Senator Bernie Sanders, in an upset win, takes Michigan, a feat that seemed impossible if you looked at the polls just days ago.
Another big night for Donald Trump, the billionaire businessman easily winning 3 out of the 4 contests yesterday.
While a handful of recent losses to Cruz have raised questions about Trump's durability, Tuesday's contest marked another lost opportunity for rivals desperate to stop his march to the nomination.
There's only one person did well tonight, Donald Trump, I will tell you. Sure.
Media coverage of this election has revolved mainly around Trump and his over-the-top agenda.
In past years, college students have had very poor voter turnout, but with this year's politically charged climate surrounding the election, how do Chapman students fit in?
Well, I don't know if anyone can have like a serious argument with Trump, just because he tends to make it into just sort of shouting.
Trump's kind of a weird candidate. It's kind of an unusual thing in American political history.
I think it's completely absurd. I think if he becomes president, I'll move to...
If it's an open primary, I'd probably vote in the Republican primary because I think it's number one, it's a more competitive race.
The California primaries aren't until June 7th, so if you haven't yet, you still have time to register to vote. For Chapman News, this has been Maya Rodrigo.
The next major primary date to look out for will be March 15th, when the candidates compete for Florida, Illinois, Missouri, North Carolina, and Ohio.
President Obama made a big announcement recently about the progressing relationship between the U.S. and Cuba. Reporter Sophia Cycli has more on what it could mean for our future.
Just 90 miles south of Florida, the island nation of Cuba is now looking towards a prosperous future, over 50 years in the making. President Obama made history not once but twice by re-establishing diplomatic relations last year and planning a trip to Cuba later this month.
This week we made it official. I'm going to Cuba. I believe that the best way to advance American interests and values, and the best way to help the Cuban people improve their lives, is through engagement.
The progress between the two nations hits close to home for Chapman student Pablo Cuero, whose family is from the island, and he traveled there last year.
Seeing the Cuban flag at the airport kind of hit me that wow, this is like who I am, this is my people, where I come from.
But there are some mixed emotions about the future, like wanting to make advancements yet still preserving Cuban culture. And in the case of Cuero's family, the memory of having to flee their home country after Fidel Castro came into power is still fresh in their minds.
Cuban government affected my family and many other families' lives because they lost everything when they came here. They had to start over, so they don't really talk about it.
But Cuero believes the recent progress will benefit Cuba, and lifting the Cuban embargo would help the Cuban people tremendously. It could also lead to a better economy for Cuba and the U.S.
We're starting to do business in Cuba, helping to nurture private enterprise and giving Cuban entrepreneurs new opportunities.
The president will be in Cuba from March 21st to the 22nd and hopes to forge stronger ties with the Cuban government and people. A nation once stuck in the past seems to be on the road to renewal. Sophia Cycli, Chapman News.
President Obama's historic visit is the first time in nearly 90 years that a U.S. president will visit Cuba.
The world lost one of the most influential first ladies of the 20th century this week, as Nancy Reagan, wife of the late Ronald Reagan, died at age 94. Throughout her husband's years in office and beyond, Nancy was known for being devoted to President Reagan. Outside of his presidency, she stood by him through a near decade of his battle with Alzheimer's disease, ending with his death in 2004. Nancy worked with numerous charitable groups, spending hours visiting veterans, the elderly, and mentally and physically handicapped. Her most notable movement, however, was her Just Say No campaign against drug abuse in America's youth.
So to my young friends out there, life can be great, but not when you can't see it. So open your eyes to life, to see it in the vivid colors that God gave us as a precious gift to His children, to enjoy life to the fullest and to make it count. Say yes to your life, and when it comes to drugs and alcohol, just say no.
The First Lady is now at the Reagan Presidential Library just north of Los Angeles in Simi Valley and was available to the public earlier this week for viewing and paying respects. The funeral commenced a little earlier today at 11, where Nancy was buried right where she always longed to be, beside her husband.
Orange City Council welcomed city residents and Chapman students on Tuesday night to get their input over the city's plan to stiffen its so-called party ordinance. Megan Funt has the story.
There's a serious problem that has kind of gone over the edge.
It's a tale as old as time, teenagers versus adults, here being played out as Chapman University college students versus the Old Town locals. This past Tuesday, March 8th, Orange City Council met to vote on a change to Chapter 9.39, Section 1 of the City Code, an ordinance covering the topics of prohibited gatherings, notice of disturbance, and public nuisance. Chapman students came to the meeting in big numbers, sober and angry.
As you can see, we, the student body of Chapman University, are fighting back against this ordinance for many reasons. As a representative of that student body, I will express the concerns and reality of this new ordinance.
Speaking from personal experience, my home received a sound check from an officer with only 10 people on my private residence. The fines imposed would be crippling to me financially.
This isn't the first time the council has visited this topic. Loud and unruly parties have been a topic of discussion for a long time now. A number of residents have even formed groups to oppose Chapman parties as well as other school policies as the school continues to grow. For now, the council feels that tightening the noise rule is the only way to silence the ruckus. Chapman students were hoping to change the hearts and the minds of those opposed.
I am disappointed in the outcome, but we're not done here, and we're going to fight it.
It was important for me as I was jotting notes down to make sure that they understood. We really hear them and appreciate their feedback and want to make sure they know we want to work together. This is a community issue.
The council members fought back, each citing specific examples of times when they encountered lewd behavior by Chapman students.
A student who was drunk come into our backyard, try to get into our house because they thought it was their house.
Short of a 300 attendee party in a small 1,500 square foot home is probably not the most reasonable.
The council voted 5-0 to amend the ordinance. Among the changes, Orange police would be able to cite any person at a party that is deemed to be too loud.
The tougher ordinance also lengthens the amount of time a party host and their guests can be cited for a second time. Translation, if you've already received your first warning, try and keep the party quiet until the next June 30th. Reporting live from Orange, I'm Megan Fun, Chapman News.
Another vote is scheduled for April 12th to decide whether or not the bill will go into effect this year. You know, Chris, this has incited a lot of reactions from the Chapman community.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the student body at Chapman are pretty frustrated with this new legislation.
Between Chapman and the Orange community, but I think it's too harsh, and I think that they're trying to essentially eliminate this from being a college town, but you can't get away from the inevitable. I think that it is a college town. It has been for 20 years.
One of the laws that got passed was a law that actually allows noise complaints to be the full length of the school year, June 30th to June 30th, as opposed to the previous 10-day. I feel like that was a little bit excessive on Orange's part. I feel like there could have been a lot more moderate solution that we came to.
I still think, parties will happen, people go out and whatnot. It's just people are going to have to be a lot more careful now.
Well, from what I've heard about them, it seems incredibly unfair to all the Chapman students. And as a junior, I'm lucky to have experienced the old Chapman that I came to love, but I feel terrible for the incoming freshmen and newer students who are going to have to adapt to this new way of life.
I think either finding a community for the rest of the campus to live, a designated area in the neighborhood, or finding some sort of mutual respect between the neighbors, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon, but we can hope.
Today in the studio, we have one of our very own Chapman students who's been actively engaged in the latest conversation over noise ordinances in Orange.
Yes, we'd like to welcome James Hart to today's show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, James, so for the people out there who haven't necessarily been following the story, they don't know what's going on, can you just give us a quick rundown of what this ordinance means?
Sure. So this past Tuesday, this Orange City Council voted to adopt the first reading of Ordinance 316. Now that basically has three parts to it concerning Chapman students. The first is that now any person who attends what is deemed to be an unruly gathering will be in violation of Title IX, Chapter 39 of the Orange Municipal Code. The second part of this is that any student, the Civil Code private right of abatement will be brought forward into the Municipal Code. So the California Civil Code already has provisions for private right of abatement. That's now being brought forward into the Municipal Code, so it'll be a lot easier for residents to see that they can bring suit against unruly parties. The third piece deals with the 10-day, what's known at Chapman as the 10-day. It's being extended to the following June 30th. So the whole idea there is that it's going to match the academic year. So the whole point is if a house throws a party, they're not going, and they're cited, they won't be able to throw another one until the next year. It was specifically designed to match the academic year.
Wow. And how do you think that the Chapman administration is weighing into this issue? Are they supporting Chapman more? Are they more on the city side?
So I don't know if you remember back last year, back last semester, Chapman wanted to deal with the expansion issue. So we had these signs out in the community saying, we're against Chapman expansion, we don't want to have this. And Chapman wanted to kind of deal with that. So they enacted some new rules in the conduct code.
Right.
And that's kind of what we've seen from Chapman University so far on the issue. We know that they've established a new committee dealing with neighbors, right, where neighbors can come in and talk to Chapman University about what's going on. And they've also appointed a new vice president of community relations, Jack Revolt. So that's kind of what we've seen so far from the university on the issue.
So with the stuff they're coming in and saying is happening, all the students, have you seen that? Be honest. Have you seen students, falling asleep in people's front yards, peeing on houses? Have you seen that stuff out there?
Me personally, no. I mean, I haven't seen that, no. I hear, obviously, from the city council that that's something that's happening. It's something that they brought up. Multiple city council members said that they had either had neighbors who had drunk students come into houses, or that they themselves had a drunk student attempt to come into their house. So while the city council is saying it's happening, me personally as a student, no, I haven't seen that.
Right. Well, hopefully we can come to some sort of resolution between the city and Chapman. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Now, coming up, breakfast lovers rejoiced this past week when IHOP handed out stacks of free flapjacks.
And the best of the best in the gymnastics world will be bringing the competition to Orange County next year.
We're gonna have some big changes in weather. We're definitely gonna need one of these, so stay right here on Chapman News. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much. Sorry, there's like
Follow your dreams.
stuff going on. Really appreciate it.
Chapman University. Take your life to new heights. Chapman University. Invest your humanity. Lead.
It's been doing a lot of construction over the past few years, with the latest and greatest being the Musco Center for the Arts. But what amazes me is there's that liquor store on Walnut that always seems to survive the expansion.
You know what? Yeah, and I'm surprised that it's stuck around even through the building of the Musco Center, but students don't seem to be too disappointed about it. Reporter Zach Shucklin went out to see what students had to say.
Chapman's Musco Center for the Arts opens its doors in 3 weeks. The 88,000 square foot venue could have been a little bigger if it wasn't for Hooves Liquor. Known as Pinky's, it's a Chapman student's first stop for alcohol. Chapman tried to buy the space in 2008, but the owner said no. I asked students their thoughts. Chapman recently finished construction on the new Musco Center for the Arts, but they still have their eye on Pinky's land plot. What are your two thoughts? Should Pinky stay or should it go?
I think Pinky should actually stay. It's a local market. I think it's family owned. It's a nice spot.
It would look aesthetically pleasing. It's just hard to push someone out just because a bigger person wants to take over that entire city block.
They could combine Pinky's with Musco. If there was maybe a bar in the Musco Center, so there would be there are people who are going to attend the shows that are over 21, and they could have the family-owned business still part of the show and part of the space.
Obviously, it should be to the discretion of the owners, but I mean, I don't think that they're able to force them out of that area.
Definitely losing that space would be a really big shame for us.
I'm going to be alumni when I'm gone here. I want it to continue to grow and continue to flourish, but at the same time, I want to respect the surrounding community and those that were here first before us.
And you?
Landlords have shown no interest in selling to the university anytime soon. Chapman is definitely keeping a close eye on that plot.
I hop, you hop, we all hop for free pancakes at the popular chain's charity event. Talia Hubble has a story that brought smiles to many.
This Tuesday, IHOP celebrated their 10th annual National Pancake Day. From 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., guests enjoyed one free short stack of buttermilk pancakes, and in return, they were encouraged to leave a donation for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Several Miss America title holders showed up to help the cause.
Allie, what's your job today? Basically, I'm here to help raise awareness and support for the Children's Miracle Network. IHOP is a huge sponsor for Children's Miracle Network, so we're just here trying to get people to donate.
Children's Miracle Network has raised more than $5 billion for 170 children's hospitals across the United States and Canada. Since 2006, IHOP restaurants have raised nearly $20 million to support charities in the communities around them. Since we were there, we decided we also wanted to help the cause.
I sure enjoyed my National Pancake Day. I can't wait to see all the amazing things Children's Miracle Network gets to accomplish with the money they raise. Reporting from IHOP, I'm Talia Hubble with Chapman News.
In the past, over 6.6 million flapjacks have been served in a single day, and the numbers seem to be growing every year.
Whole Foods Market teamed up with the company Instacart to get groceries delivered straight to your front door. The company's first partner in 2014, but recently made it to the Orange County. Delivery fees change depending on the price of the groceries, but you can pay an annual fee to have your food delivered whenever you want.
Now, I don't know if you follow the 2012 Summer Olympics, but I loved watching the women's gymnastics team.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And I'm excited to see what they can do this summer in Brazil.
Absolutely. And
but even more exciting for gymnastics fans is that the top of the top in America could be coming right down here to Southern California.
That's right. They just officially announced that they will be coming to the Honda Center right down the street. Reporter Sophia Cycli is on the scene right now. Sophia?
Thanks, Bella. For those of you gearing up for the Summer Olympics in Rio coming up in a few months, some exciting news came out of Anaheim this past Tuesday that could bring some Olympic athletes our way. 2017 gymnastics national competition is going to be held right here behind me at the Honda Center. This is the first time in more than a decade that the OC will host a major gymnastics competition. Now, Anaheim does have a long-standing history with gymnastics. They actually hosted the national championships back in 2004. Now, Olympic athletes like gold medalist Carly Patterson and others were at downtown Disney when the announcement was actually made to show her support for the sport, her fellow athletes, as well as the city of Anaheim. Now, according to the LA Times, the president of USA Gymnastics, Steve Penny, said it only took about 3 calls to actually secure the Honda Center as the venue for that competition. This will also hopefully bring awareness to the sport, as well as bring in some amateur athletes as well and bring more attention to it overall. It could also bring in some revenue for the sport, which generates about $9 billion nationally, so it's a big deal for the OC. With the momentum from the Rio Olympics, this could also bring other athletic events like track and field to Orange County, and overall bodes very well for the city and the county. Now, the national championships are going to be held from August 17th to August 20th next year, and that will determine which U.S. athletes will also continue on to the World Championships in Montreal, Canada, so it's a very big deal for those athletes. Reporting outside the Honda Center, I'm Sophia Cycli for Chapman News. Back to you at the studio.
Thanks, Sophia. Hopefully we'll see some returners from the 2012 Olympics team. I know I would love to see Gabby Douglas back on the mat.
Honestly, I just wish Shawn Johnson would come out of retirement, but can't really rely on that to happen. Although something you can rely on in Orange County is the weather. So Cam, what do you have for us over in the Weather Center?
Thanks, guys. Well, it is usually sunny and 75, but we have some big changes. Right now, it is currently cloudy, but today and tomorrow and this entire weekend, in fact, we have a chance for rain. And it is going to start today at 2 o'clock and go all the way through the night. So if you do plan on hitting Disneyland, make sure to wear a poncho or bring an umbrella. Now, looking at our Orange County forecast for you, we have 60s across the Orange County area, starting in the beach cities. Long Beach at 60, Laguna Beach, at 61, Newport at 60, and San Clemente at 60 degrees. Moving on to our giant SoCal forecast, Santa Barbara at 53, Avalon at 59, and Big Bear up at 43. And they're actually going to get some snow this weekend, 1 inch to 2 inches. So if you do plan on hitting the slopes, bring the skis, bring the snowboard. You'll have a lot of fun. And don't forget to bring chains. Now, of course, the main story here is our wind and rain advisory, which will be in effect till 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. And that will include about a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of rain and gusts up to 25 miles per hour and wind of 10 to 15 miles per hour. And of course, rain brings a lot of traffic and a lot of issues. So if you plan on leaving for work, make sure you leave a little bit early. Same thing with taking the kids to school. And finally, looking at our five-day outlook, 60s across the board, showers today, mostly clear, 60s, 65 on Saturday, 66 on Sunday with slight showers. Mild rain next Tuesday, possibly. So if you do plan on hitting Disneyland, you may want to think about going toward the end of next week. And finally, it is National Umbrella Inside Day, meaning that you open up your umbrella inside your house, not outside, but inside. So make sure you do that to celebrate. Of course, it will be raining this entire weekend, so if you're going to go outside, just bring that umbrella with you. That's all I have in the weather studio. Wolfie, what do you have for us in sports?
Sports this week, Cam, as Chapman baseball and lacrosse seasons are well underway. We have highlights and more coming up from the two teams on the best campus sports show.
Odds of becoming an astronaut, 1 in 13,200,000. Odds of being struck by lightning, 1 in 576,000. Odds of dating a supermodel, 1 in 88,000. Odds of bowling a perfect game, 1 in 11,500. Odds of being trapped in an elevator, 1 in 24,528. Odds of catching a ball at a major league game, 1 in 563. Odds of an injury from shaving, 1 in 6,585. Odds of tripping while texting, 1 in 10. Odds of getting cancer in your lifetime? 1 in 2 men, 1 in 3 women.
It's up to us.
To change the odds for our generation.
For the ones we love.
For our future.
If you don't like the odds,
stand up. Stand up to cancer.
Welcome into the best campus sports show, everybody. I'm Wolfie Tash. Let's get right to it. We begin this week at Hart Park, where the Chapman Panthers took on the Mennonite Royals on Wednesday, and the Panthers looked to be in full swing. The Panthers put up 2 early runs in the bottom of the second inning, but they were just getting started there. Freshman Connor Zickfuss and sophomore Connor Larkin led the way for the Panthers, combining for 5 hits, 5 RBIs, and 7 runs scored, including a 3-run jack from Zickfuss in the 6th inning, culminating in a 10-run outburst by the team. The Panthers pitching staff also had a successful night on the mound as Matt Molinar picked up his 4th win of the season, along with the support of the bullpen, who threw 7 innings without allowing an earned run. Chapman proved to be too much for the Royals to handle, as the Panthers would go on to win the game 12-2. Every week, Chapman University recognizes student athletes that go above and beyond in their field of play. This week, it's Chapman's women lacrosse player, Kelsey Mackin. Reporter Justin Gillerman has more with this week's Athlete of the Week.
Chapman goal scored by number 7, Kelsey Mackin.
Kelsey Mackin is a senior midfielder for the Chapman women's lacrosse team. Through 6 games this season, Mackin has already tallied 12 goals, including 6 goals in 2 games last week, earning her the Chapman Athlete of the Week, an award she believes is a testament to the people around her.
It's a big honor for me, but I think it's an even bigger honor for our program, just for the team, that any recognition that we get individually is a group recognition and a group effort, so it's exciting.
Lacrosse hasn't always been the way for Mackin here at Chapman. After taking some time off after her freshman year, she's excited about the progress she's made returning in her senior year and how she views herself as a leader.
The older you get and the more years that you have on the team, you kind of take the places and fill the roles of the girls that were older than you. So I think being a senior, it's beyond just the leadership of having seniority and being older. You're also passing down the energy and kind of just the leadership style that you want the program to continue to hold. So
the Lady Panthers are only 7 games through their season, but the excitement around the program is building. And that is why Mackin believes the sport will grow on campus starting this year as a foundation for teams to come in the future.
Being officially a D3 sport is awesome because you're a student athlete, but we get a lot more out of, I think, the experience of being recognized, being in SCIAC. We're also a very successful and winning team, and it's always fun to be winning instead of, losing early on and then kind of just trucking through the rest of the season. It's been fun. Success has helped a lot.
Reporting in Orange, I'm Justin Gillerman, Chapman News.
Catch Mackin and the women's lacrosse team next Wednesday when they take on Colorado College at home at 4 p.m. The madness has nearly arrived. We are less than 1 week away from tip-off of the always wild and unpredictable NCAA basketball tournament. In the midst of this week's conference tournaments, Kansas, Michigan State, Virginia, and Villanova are poised to be the top seeds in the tournament. Official seeding and the bracket will be revealed live this Sunday. If you're interested in checking out some of the action, the West Regional Finals will be hosted by the Big West at the Honda Center March 24th through 26th. Erin Andrews and her lawyers may have gotten a whole lot richer this week. Nearly 8 years after sportscaster Erin Andrews was unknowingly filmed naked through her hotel peephole, she may finally be getting some justice. Andrews opened a $75 million lawsuit against Marriott for their negligence by giving the man behind the camera, Michael Barrett, information about Andrews' hotel room, which she then used to record her as she got out of the shower. This week, the jury came to the decision to award Andrews with a $55 million victory to be split nearly in half between Barrett and the hotel chain. Although, according to experts, Andrews is unlikely to receive the full amount due to various legal factors, she did reach out via her social media to thank her supporters for helping her, quote, be able to stand up and hold accountable those whose job it is to protect everyone's safety, security, and privacy. That's all the time we have here in the Sports Center. Let's go ahead and toss it over to Adam in entertainment. Adam, what's up this week in the entertainment world?
Oh, Wolfie, we got a lot going on over in entertainment. Tons of magic in the box office for Disney and some magic changing up in California Adventure. Keep it here. This is Chapman News.
Stand up for what's right. Chapman University. Passion, perseverance, teamwork, integrity. Create value in the world. The School of Law at Chapman University. Lead.
Welcome back. You know, Bella was just telling me how excited she is about that new movie Zootopia. Supposedly it has her favorite animal in it.
You know what? Yeah, it might be weird, but I really like sloths, and I'm excited that they're finally getting a debut in a movie. So.
Oh, absolutely underrated. But Adam's going to give us everything with the new Disney movie and Disney rock and roll. Adam, what do you got in entertainment?
Oh, well, Bella, unlike sloths, we're going to speed through this entertainment. You know, Chapman Radio gave away some tickets to see Breaking Benjamin at the House of Blues of Anaheim on Wednesday night for their Dark Before Dawn tour. When asked if they like Breaking Benjamin, Chapman students' #1 response was, I listened to that band like 10 years ago. They have that one song, Diary of Jane, right? And they are correct. The band's double platinum album, Phobia, was released in 2006 after going on hiatus for 4 years. The band reunited in 2014 with a new lineup behind frontman Benjamin Burnley. And it was Ben's 37th birthday, which was celebrated on stage during the show with the help of none other than the Galactic Empire. Darth Vader made an appearance surprising the singer. Hey, when in downtown Disney, you never know when magic can strike. Or should I say the dark side? Sorry, we gotta keep moving. So much magic going on at Disney, and you know, Nicole Renard has the story because it's about to go from hot to cold. I don't know what's going on over there. What's happening, Nicole?
And this one. For the first time in forever, there will be a new show playing at Hyperion Theater in Disney's California Adventure, and this one will be a little more chilly than the last one. A Frozen-inspired musical is in the works and will be replacing the Aladdin show, which had been running in the theater for nearly 13 years. Despite the flurries Frozen has created with its blockbuster success, some park-goers still say they like the original.
I love Aladdin. It's a classic. Frozen's cool, but like, I don't know, isn't there something else, like something not as cool as Aladdin that they could have replaced?
I don't know, I'm sticking with Aladdin. It's old school for me, and I love that Frozen is about sister love and all of that stuff, but Aladdin just takes me back to my youth, and I don't have the ties to Frozen.
Well, whether you have ties or not, Aladdin gave Genie his final wish when the show closed in January. Elsa gave Princess Jasmine her best princess wave and told her to let it go. A temporary sing-along celebration is running in the theater while the finishing touches are put on the musical. Anna and Elsa are getting ready for their big debut on May 27th. Reporting from Disneyland, I'm Nicole Renard, Chapman News.
Thanks, Nicole. Disney may be getting Frozen, but they are on fire in the box office. Disney's animated movie Zootopia came in first place in last week's box office, raking in over $75 million, which is the same as the Aaron Andrews lawsuit. The result earned the best opening for a non-Pixar Disney animated feature film ever. Zootopia is expected to come in first place again in this weekend's box office, ahead of the debut of 10 Cloverfield Lane. Critics love the Disney flick, and it currently has a 99% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. This can be compared to Keanu Reeves' box office Nightmare, which totaled a mere 6% rating on Rotten Tomatoes for his movie Exposed. So sorry, Keanu. All I'm offering is the truth and nothing more. That was a Matrix reference if you guys didn't understand that. And hey, we're talking about all the cuteness in Zootopia. Let's talk about the cuteness here in OC. This one is a real pup. Sherry the surf dog posted a new picture of herself on her blog earlier this week. Sherry is a rescue dog living in Newport Beach that has surfed in competition since 2013, including the Surf Dog Surfathon in Del Mar. And as a rescue dog, all the money that she raises is given back to the charities that supported her, including the French Bulldog Rescue Network. The 5-year-old is fearless of water and always looks forward to meeting other dogs at her surf lessons. So hey, if you're gonna go up to Big Bear, maybe head on down to the beach and catch a little wave action with Sherry the surf dog. So that's it for entertainment here. I'm Adam Mann, and we'll send it back to you guys at the desk. Chris?
Thank you so much, Adam. And do you think it's possible to tandem surf? Because I think Sherry can teach me a thing or two.
Honestly, I don't know, but I would love to see you try. I think that'd be hilarious.
Wonderful. Thank you for your support, Chris.
Log on to our website, chapmannews.tv, to see all our episodes, Chapman Newsies bios, and the top headlines.
And make sure to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Chapman News, Twitter and Instagram at Chapman News, and YouTube at Chapman News, YouTube/Chapman News.
Thank you for spending your Friday with us. It's been a pleasure. I'm Chris Williams.
And I'm Gabriella Pennell. Have a great weekend.